Matric pupils started their final exams this morning. These crucial exams mark the end of their school years. Let's find out how day one went and what pupils' parents can expect going forward. General Secretary of Teachers Union SADTU Mugwena Maluleke is joining us now virtually. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Let's just start there. So far from what we are hearing, how has the class of 2022 Matric exams begun?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers at home, and thank you indeed for having us. So far, so good. Early this morning, we were able to visit some schools, and indeed, it started on time. We haven't received any incidents so far. However, we are still calling for our colleagues in all the provinces to feed us in terms of any other information that might have had an impact on the sitting of the examination. But so far, so good.
Yeah, your decision as such not to be part of the wage strike by public servants this week has been largely welcomed. What made you to reach that decision now, and was it difficult?
It was the most difficult decision to reach. However, members having got explanation and continuously receiving information about what was happening in the negotiations had to resolve that what the offer was, because it was just not the one portion of the offer, but it was almost like 3 to 4 areas that were to be dealt with. They then gave our structures a mandate that the NEC should also resolve that we should sign. So it was difficult because it's not that they are happy with the entire offer. It stands. However, with the explanation and the reality that they are facing, they had accepted that particular offer, and the National Executive Committee took that decision on the basis of a thorough process of mandate seeking.
So there will not be any disruptions in terms of labour action by your members during these Matric exams?
Yes, our members would not be part of any protest, given the fact that we have not balloted them, we have not declared any action, because what is required in law, it is that only members of those unions who have declared and who have served a notice can take part in any other action. So we haven't done any of those particular requirements, given the fact that our mandate was to accept the offer and our members did not give our mandate for any action.
Okay, so as far as the exams are concerned, from your members who are the teachers, they've also been under a lot of pressure and strain over the last 3 years, particularly because the class of 2022 was in grade 10 in 2020 during the first year of the COVID-19 lockdown. Last year they were in grade 11, and they had to play catch up, and they had to use digital means, and some schools did not have access to digital platforms. There were issues around the cost of data and so on and so on. And now recently ESCOM throwing more headaches into the system with the rolling blackouts. How are your members coping with all of this?
Well, ESCOM is the worst thing that we might have really anticipated or expected during this particular period, when we know very well that this is a special class of its kind, because in grade 10, they had to attend rotational classes. In grade 11, they had to attend rotational classes. They're only experiencing a full class of attendance in 2022. And clearly on assessment, when we began the first term, it was very clear that these particular learners have missed a lot. Hence the teachers, and we need to be grateful of our teachers in this country. They had to sacrifice their family time, work on weekends, work afternoon, work in the evening, work on holidays, and some of them continue to be sleeping at the schools together with the parents who are supporting their learners. And therefore, they're going through all these things despite the fact that they are violence that is directed at our teachers. They continue to be saying, we are the builders of the nation, and therefore we are going to improvise and work with our students so that they are able to make it. It's actually protecting the future of this country by making sure that the future of our children is protected by providing them. The teachers are working under extreme pressure. However, they've built resilience in themselves and also for our learners, and we want to thank them for everything that they continue to do for our country.
How are you supporting them as a trade union?
They are supported through training that we offer throughout of the year, through our Curtis Nkondo Institute, but also when we are engaging the Department of Education, that the teachers, when they go to the camps, they have got to be taken care of in order to ensure that they continue to be motivated and so forth. Some of the teachers are volunteering to do their work, and the only thing that we can is to making sure that we thank them all the time for what they are doing, because teachers, like nation builders, they are extremely lowly paid in terms of their salaries. However, because we know that the nation is because of they are, we continue to urge them to making sure that they support the union in order to making sure that their conditions are improved at the level of the Education Labor Relations Council.
Are you going to continue to make sure they earn or they get paid the appropriate increase? You say you have not balloted your members yet, and that's why you're not taking part in this wage strike, which is helping, of course, the presence of your members, not affecting the matric exams. But what's the way forward from that labor issue perspective?
So far, the matter is mute because the Department of Public Service and Administration had come to the council in form of consulting us that they are going to invoke Section 5.5 of the Public Service Act, which empowers the minister to implement the offer as it was not able to reach a majority signature. So as we speak, as I'm saying, it's mute from our side. It is because the department is processing the payment to the extent that there's a possibility that there will be a separate run that will then be paid around the 15th of this month, which is November, for these particular increases.
Okay. Now, back to the matric exams, the issue of security. I mean, a couple of years ago, we had some matric exam papers that were leaked. Now, government announcing today that they've turned to the state security to assist to make sure that there's no leaking of any exam paper. What's SADTU's position around about securing the class of 2022 matric exams?
Because of the work that our teachers are doing, we always work with the department in ensuring that nobody can spoil the good work that our teachers are doing in the country. And therefore, we urge the department all the time, hold them accountable to making sure that, one, at the printing level, there is more security. At the storage level, there's more security that is continuously be monitored over 24 hours. However, you and I know that we live in South Africa, and South Africa, as the people of South Africa, we have unfortunately given criminals, a free license to really ruin our lives. And therefore, we cannot rule out the possibility that some people might attempt to steal the papers and sell them to our student. However, we are saying to the teachers and the student, make sure that you do not get to be tempted to be misled by anyone who says, I have got a question paper, because it might not be, and you are going to pay a lot of money for something that basically is not the right question paper. So stay focused, make sure that you do what you have been doing throughout the year and so forth. So criminals will always be there, and especially because we're a lawless society. And I'm saying this because there's too much lawlessness in our country. However, we are satisfied with the level of security that has been put in place, but we cannot be 100% sure when we have got people who are planning ahead of all of us to making sure that they are tampering with the integrity of our examination. But from our side as the union, we will work with our teachers, we'll work with the department to ensure that the integrity of this examination is not questioned, is not undermined, and in making sure that our children's results are coming out as per their own efforts, and it must be meritorious.
Yeah, would you have any concerns about the load shedding impacting the marking of the exams or not?
Yes, we do have concern about the marking of the examinations, because it's there where we also have got to be very careful that ESCOM really have got to try to do everything they can to really suspend this particular load shedding and so forth. Because whilst we have been engaging with them together with the department, they have indicated that the grid is constructed in such a way that it cannot select those particular areas and be able to isolate the school. But with the centers where there's going to be marking, clearly the department has got to bring in issues like, generators, so if it happen that there's load shedding, generators must kick in so that there's always light, because there's possibility where the integrity of the marking can also be questioned when there's going to be darkness, because they work until late, and so forth. We need to make sure that the security is tight under those particular circumstances. What worries the union per se is the anxiety level of our students during this period of writing, because when there is a load shedding for 2.5 hours, it is not that the student is just going to be like mechanically going back to studying. The students need some certainty. The students need an environment that does not cause anxiety and the level of stress that is caused by the examination itself. We cannot allow a situation where it is always going to be escalated or exacerbated by the fact that 2 hours and 2 hours to 3 hours is taken by blackout, because our students have to study at home, and it is where the problem is going to be experienced.